clips for a video, like an introduction video for my team, let me know. I think that would be cool. So, well, let's go ahead and just get started with this 1600 Maokai game. We'll have to see what kind of replay it is, if it's just a normal replay or a spectator mode replay. The lighting's kind of bad in here, but you guys can deal. Alright, so anytime you're jungling, you kind of want to look at the lane matchups and try to, figure out which lanes are going to be good ideas to gank, which lanes, are probably not worth your time to gank, who's going to need help, all that fun stuff. So right away, like, their mid lane is Cassiopeia, so right away, like, that should be a flag for you, because it's like, okay, Cassiopeia has no escapes, so she might be a pretty good target to try to focus on my ganks. Your mid lane, I'm assuming, is either Kennen or Karma. If it's Karma, you're not going to really have a whole lot of gank potential with Karma. Kennen, you might, though. Like, if you're able to snag her down with a root, Kennen's going to be able to land his shuriken and then probably chain it into a stun, and you can at least get some damage. So, as far as like a Maokai pick here, Maokai is a really good champion to pick with like a really high damage potential mid lane, because that can be a very powerful gank. Like, Maokai Cassiopeia is a very good combo to have on one team, and just stuff like that. It's, like, that combo works really well because Maokai's Q will actually turn them, and you can turn them into Cassiopeia ult if you're good and coordinated. It can be really effective. Commerce starter Doran's ring, kind of interesting. Jin starting with a Doran shield, so wait, I'm really confused. Oh, I guess it's AD Kennen. No, it's Karma Irelia. Yeah, I have no idea what your lanes are doing. Your lanes are really weird. I guess you guys are running Karma Irelia bottom with Kennen mid and Jin top. Okay, so a Jin top is going to, that's the lane that you can have really effective ganks with. And if you're going to gank Rengar, you're going to want to do it early. Once he has his ultimate's going to be a very effective escaping tool. So, you should probably look and be like, okay, top lane is going to be a lane that I want to kind of focus my gank potential on. Jin is going to be really strong, especially early. So if you can get like top lane gank early with red buff, it can be very good. I'm not convinced on this race first Maokai route. Like, you got to this blue buff like almost 10 seconds late. That's pretty bad. I think you should probably just start wolves like normal jungles and just do it. Like, it didn't save you any time at all. I don't like that starving much at all. No, direct to camera. I don't care. So, yeah. So, and because like that was so late, you end up like not even getting help from your bottom lane. And that blue buff like really chunks you down pretty low. So I don't like that start at all. You might want to consider just starting straight up wolves and calling it a day. But I mean, that's really not a big deal. But anyway, so when you're juggling, you want to kind of eyeball how your lanes are doing. If there's any red flags, like someone's already getting zoned, you're like, okay, I'm definitely going to need to help that lane. Stuff like that. But it looks like you're just going to keep farming, so that's fine. You definitely want to get cleared up here. You can start heading mid right away, and if you reacted fast enough, you might have been there to discourage that dive. I don't think you could have done anything about that. That's just a solid gank, but one thing to note, you want to immediately know that Cassiopeia blew her flash. So that Cassiopeia is going to be extremely vulnerable to a gank from you. This red is kind of scary, because, well, actually, you went so slow that your smite's going to be up pretty soon. So, it's going to be okay, but you're going to get really low off this red, and you're not really going to be able to gank. So, like, if you look at this top lane, like, this top lane is ripe for the ganking. Like, this Rengar, his lane is pushing to your turret. He's half health. Like, this could be very good for you to gank, but you're too low now. Especially, like, if you take these doubles, you're going to be completely low health. So, I would already, like, okay, if you didn't try to do these doubles, you could have been top lane when Rengar went on Jhin right there and just made a play. So I would advise you to really reconsider your jungle route. Like, this route, it's left you so that you're not having any pressure at all on the lanes. And as Maokai, like, your early ganks are just so strong. Yeah, so this Cassiopeia doesn't have flash, so this is such an easy gank. But yeah, and you're really slow, so that's one thing that the Regrowth Pendant is gonna, you know, that's a trade-off if you start boots versus Regrowth Pendant. Like, your early ganks are gonna be really slow, and they're gonna be hard to pull off. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really know the standard Maokai jungle routes, but I think that starting Wraiths is fallen out of favor with Maokai. And you should maybe consider starting boots. Like, early Maokai ganks can be so strong, and you've had you've had almost no pressure on your lanes so far in this game. And that was a good gank on Cassiopeia, but it was even so late that like Kennen died for it. So, I don't know if you're trying to go top right now, if that's your game plan. You're level 5, you got a lot of that XP mid, so you're okay to kind of waste some time. You're gonna have to go soon because your lane is pushing really hard. So just a little mechanical thing with Maokai, when you W in like that, you want to immediately try to get on the other side of them so that your Q will knock them backwards. So like you Q'd him further into the tower, and like it didn't matter in that situation, but that's a little mechanical thing that you just want to have like muscle memory. You always do when you W in on someone, you step to the other side of them so your Q hits them like towards your team. This is very dangerous of you to be here. Like this is really scary, especially like I don't even think you have vision. Yeah, you don't even have vision on that. Oh, stupid director camera. Alright, so going in on this Cass is once again really scary because exactly this. Cass is level 6 and Kennen's level 4, so this is like a really scary fight to force, and precisely because of that reason, Cassiopeia had ultimate. The other thing is like, be really careful as you run through here. Like, you just made Kennen miss some experience on 3 minions now. He's level 4 against a level 6 Cassiopeia. Like, that XP adds up, and that's gonna really hurt him to take that XP. Just something to keep in mind. Like, you have to be really careful about that kind of stuff. The other thing is that at this point you have like 1300 gold. There hasn't really been a reason for you to stay in your jungle. Like, you're so slow right now, you could have already bought your Philo Stone, start making money off that gold per 10. Like, going to Wolves right here, like there's no reason for you to go right now. The other thing is that your blue buff is about to spawn, so like that was the perfect time to buy, because if you bought there, you'd have items and you would have, you know, purchased items and been stronger for your blue spawn, which is going to be like 10 seconds from now. And now you're going to be in base probably when it spawns, and you're going to be really susceptible to counter jungling. So that's just something you always want to keep note of and keep track of. Oh yeah, I should probably do all Fog of War. But you want to kind of keep an eye on like, okay, how are my lanes doing? What's going on? Well, Urgot 28 CS to Irelia 15 and Karma 12. They're kind of splitting CS, so it's kind of weird. But so like that lane is having trouble. So you might consider ganking that. Your top lane is pretty much screwed. And that's really scary for you because a Jhin needs to win early. If Jhin gets behind early, he's gonna have a really hard time. So like you needed in this game already, one thing that's gone really poorly is you needed to have a lot more pressure top and mid. Like Kennen got really far behind by that early Cho'Gath gank, and you've had very little pressure mid. And in fact, if you go in on this, Kennen's probably just gonna die because he's too low health. And this Cho'Gath is doing work. He's actually really behind. Wow, I'm not sure how he's only a level 4. That's kind of surprising. But one thing you could do is like, you could look to counter jungle. Like you just saw Cho'Gath bottom, you could have taken his race during that time. This is really scary of you because Cassiopeia will probably have all Kennen's low health, and precisely for that reason, like Kennen can just die. So scary gank, but like I said, one thing that you need to notice in this game is you've had zero pressure at top lane, except, I mean, you did get that kill, but you haven't come back and revisited that lane at all after that. And this Jhin he's gonna need some help. Like he's getting out CS. The Jhin has to win early, or he has a really rough time in like the mid late game. He's actually owning Rengar, so that's really good for you guys. But you've really, like, in the last minute, you've done almost nothing. Actually, like, since you recalled, so almost the last 3 minutes. Like, I don't think you've cleared a single camp. You kind of went in on Cassiopeia, and then you left, and then you kind of wandered bottom. You've kind of wasted a lot of time here in, like, these last 3 minutes. You were really far ahead of that Cho'Gath in terms of experience, because you took a lot from mid, and you kind of just wasted a lot of it, a lot of the time right there. In fact, and like this blue buff's been up for over 2 minutes now, and that's a long time to leave your buff sitting, and your red buff as well. So, you know, that's a long time to leave buffs sitting. You really want to be careful about that. I mean, for all you know, Cho could have counter jungled one of your buffs. This is a really scary invade. So, they saw you go in there, and like that's so dangerous for you to go in right there. You don't have any vision at all. Like your team has 0 wards on the map, and like you didn't see where Cassiopeia was. You haven't seen where Cho'Gath is at all. So that was like really scary for you to go in there. It worked out okay, but like you have to be careful, especially like your Kennen was back here, farming way back here. Like he wouldn't have been able to go and help you. So if you're gonna invade and walk into the enemy jungle, like you really have to watch and make sure that like your mid has control over the lane is an important thing, and Kennen has no control over his lane right now. Looks like a lot of action going bottom. You walk right through a ward. They don't know Kennen is here though, but they know you are. Oh, there goes every advantage. I don't know why Kennen hasn't ulted yet. There it is. Irelia going crazy. Looks like he probably got swapped in the turret, but your team has like no focus right now. You guys kind of all split their damage, and then the big Cassiopeia ult coming in. So that was just really, really awkward of your team. Like I don't know what Irelia did. You want to be kind of careful of forcing plays like that when you don't have any vision, so like you didn't know Cassiopeia was coming because you had no vision, and that's something like you have this ward that you haven't placed, and so as you're going through here, you probably should have warded their race. Hey Callisto. Like you could have warded the race, so you guys could have seen Cassiopeia coming and maybe reacted better to that. But it's been now what 4 minutes since you recalled, and you've cleared your blue. I think in that entire time period, the only jungle you've cleared in the last 4 minutes has been your blue. Maybe you cleared another small camp or two, I'm not sure, but you're wasting a lot of time just kind of walking around and being awkward. So like this red buff has been up for almost 4 minutes now. That's a large period of time. Like that's almost a whole respawn of red buff. Like you could have had red buff for everything you did, and then come back and it would have already respawned just about. Like that's how inefficient you are being with your buff control right now. Just something to consider. Like the longer a buff sits there, you know, the less efficient it is. Because it's not like the duration increases the longer you have it or anything. This could be good, but oh man, you melted. Are you running? Do you have no MR runes or anything? 30 seems like that's your base. So I'm really curious about what kind of runes and masteries you have, because that's really squishy for a jungle, especially someone like Maokai. When you play Maokai, you should be planning on ganking mid a lot. Like that's something Maokai is very effective at, and for that reason, you're gonna really want magic resist, at least magic resist blues, and you definitely want some magic resist in your masteries at least. So like that's really squishy setup you have there. And now you have a whole Negatron. I think you should have got a, like, I guess you got scared from that burst, so you're like instinctively like, okay, that was a lot of damage, I better get a Negatron. But I still think you would have been better picking up like that Heart of Gold, just getting more GP5. It still would have made you tanky. Karma with the plays. Yeah, you should be able to pick that up. Okay, good. So that was a good dive. And you should push this, and then like just leave. There's nothing for you to do here. Yeah, there you go. I didn't pay attention to when you took your blue buff and everything, but you always want to keep those timers in mind. I think you should, blue buff should be up pretty soon. Once again, like, your team has very little warding. Like, this ward right here, I think this was your ward. Yeah, this was your ward. So this ward right here is kind of an awkward ward. I don't like it very much. The only thing, pretty much the only thing this is gonna see is this is gonna see the mid lane go to blue buff if they go through right here. That's about it. It's not gonna see him roam top, which he just did. So, like, I think a much better location for this ward would have been right here. Because right here you could see anyone enter your jungle, and you could see Cassiopeia leave to go top. Or go further down and ward right here. Like, this is really, really awkward ward. I wouldn't ward here. If you really want to ward this area, ward right here, because you still have all of the vision, but you also have vision on this route here. Anyway, like, this game is really weird because you guys don't have an 80 carry, which is really scary for your team comp. It's going to be really hard to win late game without an 80 carry. Granted, they have Urgot, so they don't really have an 80 carry either. And Irelia is a beast late game, so you guys are okay, but just something to keep in mind on, like, hey, we don't really have a JD. It's going to be really hard for us to push turrets, for one. So right there, that already tells you that, like, you need to take full advantage of any time that you're going to be able to push. So if you ever, like, ace a team fight or anything, you're going to want to take that, you know, take time to push when you can. I don't really like this fawn rush you're doing at all. You should have a Heart of Gold, and then you should probably just work on building like a Shirelia's. Would be really helpful for your team. You know, you got to run fast, and Shirelia's is just such a helpful item for your team. It would be really good, or even an Aegis would be really solid. But a fawn rush, I don't like the fawn rush. Granted, they are very heavy magic damage, so it's good to get that MR, but it seems like you just got really scared off by that first Cassiopeia put on you, and that kind of scared you off, but I don't think you have to worry about it. This is a good gank. This should be like a very dead Rengar. You actually don't even get an assist on there. He died too fast. It's pretty funny. One thing you do is you can help Jhin push out if you really want. Jhin doesn't really have any wave clear, so it'll take him a little bit to push that out. It's kind of scary. I was gonna say it's really scary for you to go on that cast, but really nice job picking that up. Since Kennen was low HP and farming at his base, it's hard for Kennen to help you there, but that was good. That's one advantage of doing that fawn rush, you know, that bonus MR. Let you to be really aggressive like that. But that was really good. Really good knowledge of like your damage, saying, okay, I can take cast down right now. It's a very risky play. Like, if you had died to Cassiopeia there, that would have been really bad. Like, Kennen is already very far behind, but it was good. Excuse me. One thing you could do at this point is try to pick up an early oracles. Like, you could have, instead of this fawn, you could have gotten like Heart of Gold early oracles. They're not warding really all that much, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But it's nice, especially to have dragon control. One thing is that you haven't been bottom at all this game, like, except for like to tower dive a few times, which is fine because they seem to be doing okay. But you know, this Urgot is definitely outclassing Irelia, and this Cassiopeia is just so far ahead. Good dive there. So now you should look and be like, okay, we just picked up a kill. Can we do a dragon? Can we get a turret? You guys need to do one of them off that kill. So whether that's you guys all run at this turret to put damage, and that's good. Just make sure you try to get this turret, because you guys definitely could have dragoned off that. It's a good decision by you to stay there and just pound down the turret. It's unfortunate the creep wave timing is just a little off there. But like, your team is being dumb, and you don't have to follow your team when they do dumb things. Like, diving in that deep was really scary. Now, there have been no dragons either way in this game so far. So really, really aggressive move by you, and it's gonna work out. But like I said, you don't have to follow your team when they're being dumb, and this is why it's really scary. Like, Urgot was alive, you guys knew he was coming anytime soon, you guys don't know where Cassiopeia is, and she's here too. So really scary. So it's 2 plays in a row that were like really scary and risky that turned out okay for you. But you know, you always want to just watch yourself when you're making plays like that and realize like, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. Oh, where was the Irelia stun? What the heck? Irelia just died without stunning, I'm pretty sure. That was a huge mechanical mistake by Irelia. That would have been a very dead Cassiopeia, but Irelia just didn't stun. Pretty much a free double kill for Cass. That's just silly, to be honest. But yeah, so your team is like really pretty much behind. Jhin is doing really well. It's like your only saving grace so far is Jhin is 4 and 2 and pretty well equal form with Rengar. That's the only reason that you're gonna still be in this game, because if you look at like Cassiopeia to Kennen farm, like this Cassiopeia is huge right now. 7,300 gold to 4,100. Cassiopeia almost has double Kennen's gold. Like, that's really, really scary for you. That's like a huge red flag. That's like I need to get this Kennen back in the game no matter what red flag. And a lot of that came from like when Kennen died early and you were able to leech all of his XP. He got really far behind. And then you kind of baited him with that gank where he ended up dying, and he's bad. But so overall, just kind of recapping your plays, there's that really awkward phase from like 7 minutes to 11 minutes where like you cleared 1 jungle camp, got 1 gank off in like 4 or 5 minutes. And it was this really awkward phase where you really wasted a lot of time and just kind of ran around. And you want to always minimize that when you're jungling. The other thing is like, your rune mastery setup, I'm not convinced that not having any MR in a jungle that's really strong at ganking mid like Maokai is weird. I'd really consider changing that up. Alright, so you guys need to immediately try to get an objective here. You know, pick off the Zergot if you guys can. This is risky for you to go in on that. It was like really super ballsy play by you, and you actually live. That fawn regeneration is really good. But what's going on right now is you guys are too greedy chasing kills, and because of chasing kills, you didn't capitalize that one team fight into objectives. So what instead happened is you got too greedy chasing kills, and you ended up trading kills. Now Jhin is doing a really good job, and he's just going to get top, which is perfect. So as a direct result of that, you guys are going to get top tower, which is great. But just something to watch, like when you win a fight, you don't have to chase and make risky dives and plays to win the fight more. Like when you win the fight, that's good. You take that advantage you just got and you go and make a safe play by getting dragon, by pushing mid tower, by doing these nice easy objectives rather than trying to make this big play and chase them through their forest when their top lane's missing. So that's something that you always want to keep in mind, is like when you win a team fight or something like that, you don't have to force a dive to get the last member or something. You should just back up and take objectives. So it looks like you're hogging all of the blue buffs, which is okay. You know, Maokai is really good with blue buffs, so it's really not a big deal. One thing is that like you're doing really well for yourself, 5-1 and 6, and with, like I mentioned this earlier, oracles can be really effective when you get an advantage like that. Like I said, they're not really buying wards, so it's not a huge deal. Back to your build. So you're just loving the MR. Looks like you're gonna go with Banshees next. It seems overkill defensively. Like for one, an Aegis of the Legion would be really, really, really good for your team. It would provide a lot of MR for your team. Can I not access the shop in this one? I don't think I can. I don't remember exactly how much MR Aegis of the Legion is off the top of my head. Is your R on cooldown? Oh yeah, you just exploded it. So kind of a weird fight for your team. I'm gonna rewind this because I was actually busy talking, but you guys just kind of got smoked. Let's rewind that. I want to see this again. Alright. So looks like you guys are a little too aggressive mid, and Aurelia was forced to burn her flash already. This is scary because you guys don't know where top lane is, and already you guys should be used to the fact that Rengar is roaming a lot, and so you guys should be expecting Rengar. Really scary engage. Oh, you guys all fought in a... Okay, so this is what happened. You guys have... Okay, so I'm just gonna pause because this is really, really bad for your team. Generally, you want to look at team comps to decide where in general you want to fight. And if you look at their team comp, you guys just fought in literally the worst spot on the entire map you could have fought. Like, let's look at this. They have Lux, right? Okay, well, first let's look where you fought. You fought on this ramp, right? Let's review what happened. Cassiopeia ult. You guys went to engage. Cassiopeia ult on 4 people. All followed by a Luxie, all followed by a Lux ult, all followed by like AP Rengar W damage. All followed by like Cho'Gath silence on everyone. This is literally the worst spot on the entire map I think you could have fought them. Running into a Cassiopeia ult up a ramp like this, like narrow up a ramp, running into the Cassiopeia ult against a Lux and a Cho'Gath, that's literally the worst spot I think you could have fought. And this is something you really have to keep in mind when you're running against certain champions. Like, you have to keep in mind, where do we want to fight? Against heavy AoE comps like you're playing against, you can't fight in tight corridors like on this ramp or like in here. You get totally screwed on positioning. So that's 100% what just went wrong with that fight. You can't go there. And at some point, you're just going to have to bail. You end up just getting really kited. Your flash is still up. Like, you could have made it out of that fight way before that with your flash. You got way too greedy hunting for that like low health Cho'Gath or low health Lux, and you can't do that. Like in a 5v1, like you're gonna get kited. They have a lot of CC, a lot of slows. Like Urgot slow, Lux snare, cast slow, Rengar slow, Cho'Gath rupture. They have a lot of CC. So what went wrong that fight is it's really, really bad to fight right here. And like this bush gank you guys tried to set up, that's so scary against a Lux Cassiopeia. Like, even if Cassiopeia comes onto this brush and you guys jump on her, she just ults all of you. That's really scary. You guys don't want to bunch up and try to make a play like that on this team. So once again, I'm just in general not a big fan of your build. This Banshee's Veil Fawn. Yeah, you have a lot of MR and the nice Banshee's Veil active, but I don't like it. Like, I don't like the Banshee's Veil active for one because you're this big tanky initiator. If they blow CC on you, that's good. That's less CC for less CC for your damage dealers. The other thing is, like, instead of these items, you could have had like Aegis of the Legion, which would provide a ton of MR. Someone's saying it's about 40. Like, your Banshee's Veil is 50 MR, and I'm gonna Google it real quick. Aegis of the Legion. Aegis is one of the single most cost-efficient items in the game, by the way. Aegis is 39 MR on yourself, 15 aura, 24 on yourself. So an Aegis would have given only 11 less armor than a Banshee MR on the Banshee's Veil, let alone the health, damage aura, armor aura, all that fun stuff. Once again, though, yeah, okay, good. I was gonna say, if you turn on that, like on this ramp again, very bad spot to fight. But your build choice is something I'm really concerned about here. So not only is Aegis just an amazing item, you really need one on your team, which you could have had by now. Also, same thing can be said for Shirelya's Reverie. Shirelya's Reverie and Aegis are 2 items you always need on your team every single game. They are that good. And you could have had both of those by now. So, just something to keep in mind. Like, at this point, you guys are pretty far behind, like 3k gold. And the big killer is that gold is almost entirely on like the difference between Cassiopeia and Kennen. So engaging on an Urgot there, I really feel was a mistake for you. This Cassiopeia is the big problem in this game right now. It's not Urgot. Like, Cassiopeia is 9 and 5, Urgot is 4 and 8. If you really want to engage, go ahead and rewind it. If you really want to engage, like you're sneaking behind, like trying to do this sneaky engage, well, one, Rengar sees you. But the other is like you walk right by Lux Cassiopeia and go on this Urgot, who just doesn't matter. And once again, you guys all collapse and group up, which is bad. And your ult actually doesn't really go on your own team. So one thing about your ult placement, it seems like you're using it primarily for the damage component, but you're really going to want to try to get it for the damage reduction component on your team. So you jump in and you center your ult on the enemy champions, not your own allies. So that's good for when you're trying to go for the big burst damage that your ult can provide. But like in that fight against an AoE heavy team, you want to make sure you're getting it on your team. And so, just a small thing there. I'm going to start fast forwarding through this game now. What is my hotkey for you? T. Okay, you're dead. So I'll go ahead and view direct camera for a little bit. So at this point in the game in Oracles is like incredibly important to understand, like to be able to control Baron and control the vision surrounding Baron is really important. That and wards, like it's been kind of obvious that Karma isn't buying wards this game, and that's something you need to step up as like a supporty jungle. Like you can buy wards. Like Maokai's effectiveness isn't really reliant on items. So you're able to buy wards, and you need to buy a lot of wards for your team here. Like your team just getting caught because you don't have vision there. Actually, you do a nice job jumping on the Cassiopeia and picking up the Cassiopeia kill, but still this fight isn't looking good. Like Rengar's full HP and kind of going crazy. Oh my god, Kennen still has ult? What the heck? Okay, I'm clearly not focusing on these fights very well, but I'm just amazed that Kennen still had ult there. Flashing out of there is kind of risky because it's like I don't think you're really going to live from that without flashing over a wall or something. I think you probably would have been better served to just all in that Urgot and try to take down that Urgot. Yeah, that was a lot of CC to try to run away from with just a flash for distance. So just kind of a mistake on your flash there, but. Excuse me, I'm very tired. Okay. Let's go ahead and go back. So, okay, you picked up a couple wards, which is really good because you're going to need wards for the Baron control. That ward is okay. I'd probably, yeah, I guess that word's okay. I'd probably prefer to ward like here and in deep here, and that would probably give you more efficient vision of the dragon area. But this will, I don't know, that's okay. Good job forcing the dragon for your team. That's good. Ooh, the choke out flash. You guys can definitely go on this. Like, this is 3v4. And Cassie blows her all just on you. Like, that's a really good fight for you guys. Good fight by you by just going on the Urgot and Lux and ignoring the choke out. That's a good decision by you. That's probably going to secure you the Urgot kill. You shouldn't dive the Lux though. That's obviously that was a mistake. You're most likely going to die for it. Let's see if you guys can kite this out. Big Karma shields. No. So, yeah, don't, like, there's no reason for you to force that dive, and that kind of goes back to what we're saying, like, what I was saying earlier. When you win a fight, you don't need to dive or go crazy for the next kill. Like, you need to back off, be like, okay, we won the fight, what can we do now? Like, that was such a free middle turret. This middle turret is still standing 31 minutes into the game. Taking that middle turret is going to open up a lot of map control through the middle area. Like, all this becomes yours. Like, becomes much safer for you to walk through. All this area. And, like, you could have gotten that middle turret so easy, but instead you go to dive the Lux and chase the Urgot, and you don't get the kills. So that's just kind of a recurring mistake that I'm seeing is, you know, you win a fight, you're not backing up and focusing on picking up objectives. You are going, you know, trying to go crazy to get the last couple kills. The Jhin with the jukes. No jukes. So he's dead. You can see they're all chasing him. You guys have to be really careful of them doing a Baron right now. That's like your number one fear right now is like, oh god, Jhin just died near Baron. They're all there. What if they take Baron? But it looks like they're actually grouping up to push. And you guys should be able to defend this, no problem. That's a very dangerous way for you to run, but it looks like you're actually just going to go engage. Pretty ballsy, but once again, it's kind of the same deal where you went big on the Urgot instead of the Cassiopeia. And like I said before, this Urgot's not the problem. This Urgot is 5 and 9. His job is pretty much to die. You don't want to help him do his job. So just once again, I really feel like you probably should have gone on the Cassiopeia instead of the Urgot. Like this Cassiopeia is huge. That's the majority of their damage in fights is their Cassiopeia. That's who you need to shut down. And if you're gonna go ham in a fight and go really deep, you should probably be doing that on Cassiopeia and not Urgot. Wow, that Jhin damage, holy crap. He's about to just turn on Cassiopeia too. The Jhin is huge. Pretty much like your job in a team fight at this point, like he just 3v1. So when you see a play like that, like you should go like, oh holy crap, this guy's stacked. And from now on, like your goal is to like play to let Jhin carry. That may mean like you stay with Jhin, you make sure Jhin doesn't die, you make sure he doesn't die, you focus his targets in fights, etc. That's how you want to play when there's someone like this in your game where like everyone is doing badly. Except one person. Like the Jhin is crazy. He's the only thing keeping you in this game. Like look at CS. He has 100 more CS than like anyone else on the team. And you guys got mid turret. Good. Finally got mid turret. I see pings going out on Baron. Be really careful. This isn't a good time for you guys to do Baron. Let's kind of talk about like bad places to fight. If you guys are all stuck in Baron pit against this team, that's a really bad spot for you guys to fight. It looks like you're going to Shreya's Aegis now, so it's good you're picking up those items. I don't like your Fawn Rush, but as long as you're picking up the Shreya's and Aegis now, you guys are probably going to be okay. Other options like an Abyssal might be a better option if Kennen was doing better, because your Karma's doing pretty well. Oh, the other thing is like Karma already has Aegis, so you don't need to get one. It's not really worth it to have 2 Aegises. You guys definitely need Baron Vision. At this point in the game, like when you don't see anyone on the team, your first reaction is like, oh god, they're doing Baron. Because it's usually true. And okay, so if you have so you're saplinging the Baron pit. That's really dangerous precisely for that reason. So there you go, jumping right on the Cassiopeia is a good decision. You're effectively zoning her from a lot of this fight. But that's just such a bad engage by your team. And that's something where like you need to be really careful running that way. This is a very common bait. Establishing Baron control, like vision control on Baron, and then baiting a brush. So with that sapling, I think a smarter choice would have been, you check one of these bushes with the sapling, and then you run and try to peek your head to see if you can see Baron. Like if you're gonna just use the sapling to check vision on the Baron pit, there's no reason to run all the way up here and then throw it. Like you might as well just check it with your vision. If you're gonna just throw a sapling in Baron pit, you can do it safely up here and throw a sapling for vision. No aura stacks with itself. All aura items will, like if you have an aura, like the way auras work in LoL is when you have an aura, there's effectively 2 different kinds of the aura. There's like the A kind, which affects you and you only, and then there's the B kind, which affects everyone else. And you can have the benefits from an A and a B aura. So like if right now with Karma and Maokai having Aegis, they will both, the aura will stack for Karma and Maokai, but everyone else will only get one benefit of Aegis aura. Good catch by you. This is definitely going to result in a dead Urgot. I'm being talked to. Anyway, sorry. But, I just totally lost my train of thought. And we were talking about vision control, checking Baron, all that fun stuff. But, oh, the Aegis stack is what we were talking about. Yeah. So it's the same with Wodo. Like that's why like double Wodo was such a thing for a while. Double Wodo was so strong because on the characters that got Woda, the Woda aura stacked on. So, but it won't stack on anyone else. That's why one Aegis is all you need. Like 2 Wodas is really effective because you're getting Woda on the people that benefit from them the most already. So. But 1 Aegis is all you need. You guys really need to be buying a lot more wards, especially like as a jungle. Buy wards, tons and tons of wards and oracles. You haven't gotten oracles all game. Oracles is just so important, especially as it gets to the spade, where a large part of games, you know, at this point are going to be decided by Baron. And playing the Baron dance where you establish vision on Baron and, you know, dancing around it. One team sweeps all the wards out, puts their wards down, gets scared off. The other team sweeps out the wards, puts their wards down, etc. Like, that's often, you know, winning that game wins you the Baron, so. Really scary for you. Like, this is, okay, this is, you guys tried this before, like, I'm gonna pause this real quick because I'm not sure what you're thinking. Like, you guys tried this before, the same thing. And what happened? Well, you guys went to engage, everyone got Cassiopeia, you all died. And now you're trying it when they have Baron buff. So, like, this is really, really scary for you guys. Like, I'm not a big fan of this play. I'm hoping, oh no, what happened? Like, I'm hoping this works out for you. 39:54 is the time if I have to restart. But since the game looks like it's about to end, I have this bad feeling about what's about to come. Alright, looks like it crashed, so let me restart it. We're at 39:54. But just like, remember, like, you guys tried that play before, right? You tried that exact brush, camp that brush, and it worked out really poorly for you. So, I'm not sure why you would be doing it again when they have Baron. Especially, like, the worst part about this play is that none of you have oracles I didn't see. If one of you has oracles, this is fine. This is okay because they might not have a ward there. Like, you'll know that they don't have a ward there if one of you has oracles. But if no one has oracles, you could be sitting in that brush with it warded against a Cho'Gath who's just going to rupture everyone, and a Cassiopeia who's going to ult everyone, and a Lux and a Rengar who's going to double W for a 2.0 AP ratio burst on everyone. It's like, that is so scary. The other thing is, like, and I know Rengar's a new champion, so a lot of people don't really know how he works, but like a Rengar could hit his ult, and his ult will reveal every enemy champion in like roughly range of TF ult. So Rengar could just hit his ult and see you guys. So, like, let me pause this to look at vision. Okay, well, you guys left the bush, but so no one has oracles. You don't know if that was warded. That was so crazy, like such a crazy play. Once again, this ramp, this tight quarters in the jungle, you guys can't fight right here. You're going crazy. Like, they have Baron, and you're like invading their jungle and going crazy. Oh, here it is. Once again, here's the fight on the ramp. Yeah, and they have Baron buff. That was actually a decent engage because the enemy team was split 3 and 2. Like, honestly, you guys maybe would have won that fight if they didn't have Baron and if they weren't so far ahead. But, like, this is a very silly decision of you guys. Like, they have Baron, they're winning, and, like, I mean, they didn't have a ward, but for all you know, like, you didn't know if they had a ward there or not because no one had oracles. So that's just such a weird play for you guys to try to make. Is like, okay, we're losing this game very badly. They have Baron buff, but let's try to force this fight in the middle of like the river. So really silly decision there. Overall, what I'd say went wrong that game is like Cassiopeia got really far ahead, and you know, there was a lot of that was to do with Kennen play, but if we want to focus on your play, like you had very, very little pressure on the lanes for the first like 5 minutes of the game. And that had a lot to do with your jungle route. I really recommend you revisit your jungle route. Maybe just try something like start wolves, then blue, then race, then look for a gank, and then if there isn't a gank, you know, you maybe go back to wolves, and then your smite will be up, and you can go do red, and you'll still be nice and healthy throughout all this, so that you can gank at any point during this, and then doubles if you want. Doubles do a lot of damage. They're pretty scary on your first clear. Other thing is, like, look at your runes and masteries. I find it really odd that you don't have any magic resist as a jungle who's really effective at ganking mid. That's really bad, and we saw that when like you went on this Cassiopeia and she just shredded you. Like, she was probably doing true damage at that point to you and just melted you in like 3 hits. And then you kind of got scared and you rushed to Fawn, which I don't think you should have done. I think you should have gotten your Heart of Gold and then built your Aegis Australias. And then in those fights, there were a lot of fights where you would go deep on this Urgot, who's just such a non-factor in that game. You know, he was really not that strong when this Cassiopeia that you could have gone on was just wrecking your whole team. The other thing is that there were a lot of situations where you got really greedy and you went to chase kills when you either could have gotten out or your team could have backed off and taken objectives. And you can try to lead your team in doing that, being like, back out, just start pinging a turret, just stop chasing, start pinging a turret, and just say, get the turret, stop chasing. Maybe they'll listen. You never know. Maybe they won't, and that's solo queue for you, but they might. And then, you know, I kind of talked about choosing your fights where you want to fight against a team with a lot of AoE. Like, this is literally one of the worst spots you could fight in the river, like, on this ramp. And you guys did it not once, but twice. And the second time, even when they had Baron and had, like, a 10k gold advantage. So, just not smart decisions. But yeah, so that's about all I have to say about that game. I'll go ahead, if any of my viewers have any questions, I will go for it right now. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm probably just going to peace out. Really tired today. I don't know why. I might just go to bed early, but I think I'm fighting something off. My wife has been pretty sick, and so I think she might be infecting me. We get some sleepy puppy cam. That get me all the viewers.